Hey everybody, Ronnie the Mortgage Dad here, and we got Gaaudy here, your local realtor in South Florida, bringing you another video to kind of educate and remind you to use local. But we come up with these videos, or we come across these videos, which we think they're great, so we like sharing and then having a topic after it. So let's just jump into it and look at the video.
5 investing real estate tips for you to be successful here in 2023. Number 1 is to be patient. Sometimes the best deal that you buy is the deal that you pass on. Step number 2 is to network your butt off. Find the relationships with private money lenders, find the relationships with wholesalers, find the relationships with contractors so you can build your team to be ready to move forward. Number 3 is to know your financing options. How are you going to get out of a deal? Are you going to use a DSCR? Are you going to use a small local community bank? What are your options? Number 4 is to not overshoot your ARV. The market is changing right now. Make sure you're conservative with your numbers. And number 5 is to understand your construction budget, because inflation is real. Costs of everything are going up across the board.
Yeah. And one thing I will note, he did mention 2023. Realistically, this applies whether it's 2024, 25, 26, whenever. It's just the concept is pretty much the same. One thing I will say that we talked about before is when it comes to real estate is, I don't like using the word slow, but I want to say strong and steady. If you get in it and do it the right way, you're going to see the benefits over time, which is just going to strengthen your overall portfolio, your overall net worth, your overall wealth. So, when you hear people say, oh, real estate's no, it's strong and steady. So he mentioned that, hey, sometimes the best deal is the deal that you pass up. You just don't want to jump into the deal because you just want to get into it, because you don't want to. It's easier said than done because there's always emotions involved when the money's involved in it. But when it comes to real estate, you want to be strategic. You want to, as we always say, have the right team. He mentioned whether it's contractors, if you're doing wholesaler, if you're financing, making sure your loan officer, your mortgage broker is giving you all the best options out there when it comes to financing the potential deal. Your team is crucial because you can't do this by yourself. It's not like trading stocks where you can basically do that individually. When it comes to investing in real estate, you need a team around you, a strong team at that.
And yeah, 2 things to point out from this video too is, one, he talked about the financing, right? So obviously me being in financing, I'd say 75% of the time, I've got a program for you. I'm your guy. 25% of the time, I'm not your guy, but I've got the people around me that fit, I can hand you off to, that I know will take good care of you in the certain program they may have that maybe I don't currently have. So
relationships,
that's definitely relationship. And he kind of says network. And that's how I was able to build my team, not for me to hand someone off. That's really both of our clients, right? But I know they've got the better program for them to get it done. I really need to know this guy and how he's going to handle. So I don't take that lightly when I'm handing it up to someone, and vice versa. Right. So once we start, there's certain things that I can do that they can't do. So it's usually a win-win for everybody with that right team. And one thing people don't talk about much about when it talks investment, everybody thinks, wow, all right, I'm going to buy this investment property, I'm going to rent it out, but wow, the housing market could crash. And then what happens? If you're going to hold the property, I don't want to say it's irrelevant if the market crashes, because you're not selling it. Rents. When was the last time you were renting and they said, okay, you know what, next year your rent's going to come down $100? It doesn't happen. Rents typically stay steady. So to his point, what he said in the video is, know your numbers, right? Be conservative. So if you know you can buy it for X, your costs are going to be Y, but you can rent it for Z. That's all that matters. It's almost irrelevant what the market does for the most part short term. And I think a lot of people forget about that when you're investing. It's getting in. Does the cash flow make sense? Right. So,
and I'm glad you mentioned that, because cash flow is king. As long as you're cash flowing, you're always going to be on top. Like he just said before, regardless of what's going on in the market, whether it's the real estate market, the stock market, any type of market, if you're cash flowing, you're always in a good position. So you just want to make sure, like you said before, that the numbers make sense and you don't find yourself in the red with a potential deal. You will always be in the green in the sense of, hey, this is cash flowing. If it cash flow, it makes sense. That's the way I look at it. It's not complicated. 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah. And not to diminish, you're not going to buy something knowing the market, whatever may alter, but it's not as big of a factor, right? So yes, we all want to buy and have it go up as well. It usually does, but if you're renting it, you know, and I was worried about this a couple of years ago when I was looking at buying investment properties when rents are skyrocketing. I was like, whoa, these are going too fast. Like, could rents come back down? And
Yeah.
they really haven't. They've obviously leveled off and rents aren't going up nearly as fast as they were before, but they stayed there. They're not coming down. So yeah, so it's one thing to think about when you're buying for investment and you're planning on holding the property, not necessarily fix and flip or whatever. You know, it's all about really in any investment. It's about the numbers.
You know, I was thinking about, as you're saying this, I wish I had the opportunity to had conversations like with myself and with you like a couple of years ago, because I'm pretty confident I'll be way further along in my real estate journey. But you know, that's why we constantly say, hey, it makes sense. It's more than making sense. It's just ideal for you to put yourself around the right people when it comes to whatever decision you're trying to make, whether invest
Yeah.
in real estate, regardless of what you're trying to do, be around the right people, the right professionals. So
And do the research really, because you know we're saying one thing, you may agree with us, you may not agree with us, but go out there and do the research, because I think the good bad about today's market is social media. I learned a
mm,
lot from people on social media,
mhm.
but remember, just because someone says something doesn't mean it's true. It's
Ah,
a viewpoint which consider, but it's not all facts out there, which we all kind of know, but sometimes we get caught up on. And oh, I was listening to this one person and he said this. Maybe. All right. Do some more research. Just don't
mhm.
take it for face value.
Well said, well said. So with that, we appreciate you guys taking time out your day to listen to us as always. Until next time, appreciate you guys' time
All
and
right.
energy.
Stay local.